The night sky wasn't just dark, it was bruised. Clouds, swollen and purple, churned over the city, a tempest of impossible scale. And then the light began. Not the clean, sharp crack of lightning we knew, but a slow, creeping orange that bled through the cloud cover, as if the heavens themselves were on fire. Within that hellish glow, silhouettes moved. They were colossal, their forms shifting and reforming in the flashes of electrical discharge. Shapes that defied earthly geometry, titans swimming in a sea of storm. This wasn't weather, this was an arrival. On the ground, the world held its breath. Then it roared back. From hardened silos hidden in deserts and mountains, from the decks of carriers carving through panicked seas, the counterattack began. A symphony of fire and steel. Missiles, dozens, then hundreds, tore through the atmosphere, leaving brilliant white trails against the bruised sky. What? This wasn't a blind barrage. Their trajectories were unnaturally fluid, impossibly precise. They banked and curved, a swarm of guided hornets following whispers of data fed directly from alien sensors, hacked and turned against their masters. Humanity's first defiant scream in a language we were just beginning to learn. Inside a sliver of polished metal and plexiglass, a young pilot named Kalen stared up at the fiery chaos. The cockpit displays flickered, bathing his face in a frantic green glow. His knuckles were white on the flight stick. His teeth ground together, the sound lost in the roar of his engines. Below him, the alien craft, a monstrous thing of shifting plates and glowing chasms, opened up. It wasn't an attack, it was an invitation. A swirling vortex of fire, plasma, and shattered debris spun like a drain in the ocean of the sky. An entry point. Protocol screamed at him to pull up, to evade, but instinct, a deeper and wilder thing, told him to dive. He pushed the stick forward. The sky, the world, everything compressed into a tunnel of blinding light and screaming metal as his fighter plunged into the heart of the storm. He expected obliteration. A final, searing moment of heat and pressure. Instead, he found silence. The shaking stopped. The roar vanished. He was drifting, suspended in an impossible calm. The fire, the debris, the vortex was all gone. He looked up through his canopy, and his breath caught in his throat. The storm had dissipated, not faded, but vanished in an instant like a curtain torn away. And what lay behind it was the familiar black velvet of space and the pinprick of distant stars. It was a second sky. A breathtaking, impossible panorama of alien constellations. Nebulae of emerald and gold swirled around twin suns. Galaxies he had never seen hung like jewels in the void. The clouds hadn't been a storm, had been a veil, a cloaking field hiding the true nature of their universe. They hadn't just come to our world. They had brought their heavens with them. The shock was a physical blow. Humanity had spent centuries looking up, charting the stars, feeling so profoundly alone. And all this time, there was another layer, a whole other reality stacked right on top of our own, hidden from view. The alien silhouettes were still there, but now they were clear against the cosmic backdrop. They weren't just ships. They were beings of immense scale, their forms part biological, part celestial, their skin mirroring the nebulae behind them. They hadn't come to conquer. They had come to reveal, to show us the cage we never knew we were in. Kellen's come crackled to life, a cacophony of panicked, awestruck voices from Earth. Generals, scientists, leaders, their carefully constructed plans and counterattacks were now meaningless. How do you fight something that can rewrite the very sky above you? How do you attack a messenger who brings a truth so profound it shatters your entire perception of reality? The missiles, so precise just moments ago, were now lost, their alien guidance data gone silent. They drifted aimlessly, tiny specks against a canvas they were never meant to see. Their purpose had evaporated along with the storm clouds. Down below, the cities fell silent. The panic gave way to a global, collective awe. People poured out into the streets, not to run, but to look up. Phones, cameras, telescopes all pointed towards the new sky. It was on every screen, on every news channel. The greatest discovery in human history wasn't made in a lab or found on a distant planet. It was delivered to our doorstep, orange glow that had seemed so menacing was now cast in a new light. Perhaps it wasn't the fire of war, but the glow of dawn. A new dawn for a species that had just woken up to find its room was infinitely larger than it ever imagined. Back in his cockpit, Kalen just floated. He was the first human to consciously cross the veil, the first to see. His mission had been to fight to be a weapon. But now he was something else. He was a witness, an emissary. He looked at the controls, at the weapon system still armed and ready. It all seemed so small, so primitive. He slowly reached out and flicked a switch. The targeting systems went dark. The missile locks disengaged. A feeling of peace washed over him, a sense of clarity he'd never known. This wasn't an end. It wasn't an invasion. It was the beginning of a conversation. It's a conversation with the architects of a sky he never knew existed. His fighter jet, once a tool of war, was now a vessel of discovery, drifting on the shores of a new cosmic ocean. The question was no longer how do we win, but what do we say first? This shift in perspective rippled across the globe. The initial terror was a distant memory, replaced by an insatiable curiosity. Astronomers wept with joy, their life's work both validated and rendered obsolete in a single moment. Philosophers and theologians grappled with the implications. If our sky was a lie, what else was? The aliens remained silent, their grand forms hanging in the new heavens like patient gods. They had made their opening statement a gesture so grand and powerful it needed no words. They had peeled back reality for us. The next move was ours. In the command centers, the atmosphere was thick with confusion and wonder. The language of war felt clumsy and inappropriate. Target and threat were replaced with phenomenon and entity. They were trying to understand the physics of the new sky, to comprehend the energy required to project such a veil. But it was like a toddler trying to understand quantum mechanics. Our science was inadequate. Our assumptions were all wrong. We had been looking at the universe through a keyhole, and someone had just kicked down the door. Kalen became the focal point. He was our man on the inside, the only one who had passed through the looking glass. His comms were an open channel, broadcasting his view, his vitals, his quiet, awestruck words to a listening world. He described the colors, the way the light from the alien suns felt on his skin, even through the canopy, the sense of profound ancient intelligence that seemed to emanate from the celestial beings. He was no longer a pilot, he was a poet, painting a picture of a new reality for 7 billion people. His descent, which had started as an act of desperate aggression, was now seen as an act of first contact, a reckless, beautiful dive into the unknown that had inadvertently become humanity's handshake. The aliens, in their silence, seemed to acknowledge this. One of the colossal figures slowly turned its head, a swirling vortex of starlight towards Kellen's tiny ship. There was no menace, only a sense of acknowledgement, a silent greeting across the void. The revelation wasn't just about the sky, it was about us. It showed us that even in our fear and aggression, there was a core of bravery and curiosity that could lead to moments of pure, unintended grace. Humanity's response to a perceived threat wasn't to cower, but to fly right into its heart. And in doing so, we found not destruction, but enlightenment. The war was over before the first shot truly landed, won not by missiles, but by a single pilot's leap of faith. The future was unwritten, but for the first time, it would be written on a page far grander than we had ever dared to dream. Thank you for watching. If this story sparked your imagination, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss our next journey into the unknown. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do if the sky opened up? Till next time, keep looking up.